My name is Henry J. Williams. Everyone calls me Uncle J. My parents moved to Denver in the late 1920s from Texas. They bought a house on Franklin Street. My father, he was employed by Union Pacific Railroad as a Pullman porter, which was a very good job during that era. He was able to buy the house. And my mother, she never worked outside the home. There were 9 of us children, and my sister and I
Ernestine
were 2 of the younger ones. Our family home had 5 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, kitchen, living room, dining room, plus a basement and an attic.
We all graduated from Manual High School, so schools were good. Several of us went on to college.
Starting with our oldest brother. He was a Tuskegee Airman, as were a few of his friends. He retired as a group executive from Boeing in Seattle.
He kind of set the example for the family, as far as what was expected.
And from him on down, we had pharmacists, an Air Force Finance Center supervisor, entrepreneurs, each successful in their own way, always involved in something.
I worked for the Safeway for 20 years or so until I got injured. Then I went on disability.
I attended Colorado State University, and I retired from IBM after 29 years. We are very close-knit, always have been, and we basically took care of each other and still do. Of course, we had the nieces and nephews and the great this and the great that and the grandchildren that have children and everything. So our family has grown exponentially. But we have our spats here and there, but we're just one big happy family. Our home, in fact, the whole neighborhood, we knew everybody and everybody knew everyone else. And if one of our neighbors tried to correct us, you stood corrected.
You know, brother, you respected people. You respected your elders. You respected your teachers. It was a different era, but it was good.
We had many, many aunties and uncles that weren't related because our parents opened up their home. Whenever someone got transferred to the railroad in Denver, they would rent them a room until they were able to bring their family or whatever. And as we grew up, we had all these aunties and uncles that were now a part of our life.
We had beauticians too, you hear me? Us girls would go across the street to get pretty for Sunday.
So many sisters.
Well, she kind of specialized on us because there were so many girls. Oh, we'd go over there and stay all day, it seemed. We'd have lunch over there, and then by the time 4 o'clock came, we'd have dinner over there sometimes. Like a village.
The reason 5 Points was so highly populated with blacks and Hispanics was that this was the only place you could live until 1968 when Colorado passed the Fair Housing Ordinance. And because of white flight, they would move the lines a little bit. 22nd and William Street.
Then, east of University.
Colorado Boulevard.
Then, only north Park Hill.
But 5 Points? When you're relegated to a neighborhood like ours, you have everything from millionaires to hourly workers because they had to be. And that's another thing that made 5 Points so special.
You know, 5 Points was the Harlem of the West. And really amazing things was happening down there for black folks. Music in particular. Everybody know about the Rossonian.
From 23rd and Welton to 30th, most businesses were black owned.
Clothing stores, grocery stores, everything. The Welton Market was a big store. It was the size of the Safeway.
Drug stores, flower shops, a taxi cab service, a dental practice there. There was a former pro boxer, they called him Knockout Brown. And he owned a nightclub downtown on Welton.
It's a brother, what is they calling it now?
What's that, sister?
A diverse gathering down at the 5 Points. That's what they're calling it. Our neighbor, Mr. Walton, owned the ice company. And there was a rectangular sign you had and you put in your kitchen window. And it had the weight you wanted on.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25?
Or whatever. And the iceman would be down the alley and he would chip you off a big block of ice, grab it with his ice tongs, swing it over his shoulders, bring it in and put it in your icebox.
There was a system for everything. The vegetable lady, Miss Rose, she was a Jewish lady and she really adored our mom. She would come by twice a week or so to sell her fresh vegetables. And of course, she would always give her a little bit more because she was such a good customer.
remember that.
In exchange, my mother would always have an egg and a glass of milk ready for her. And she would take this egg and put it in the glass of milk, stir it up and drink it. And she said it was healthy.
It may have been.
She was very special. The neighbors all took care of the neighborhood.
You know, our house on Franklin Street was one of the most visited houses there.
I guess.
So many kids.
Yeah, so many kids.
Our house was really a lot of fun.
You could hear the lions roar at City Park at night. It wasn't a lot of traffic.
Well, there wasn't a lot of people either.
No, it wasn't. I don't remember us ever having to lock our doors. We never did.
Well, brother, if you recall, there was that police substation up on 25th and Welton.
Uh-huh. And the policemen still had their beats, so we knew our policemen basically, and they knew us, and there was a community involvement that doesn't exist today. And we would watch that cop go up and down his beat. From our attic.
But brother, when it snowed, we kids would get out there on the ledge.
Well, be careful now.
Hush now. And we would scoop up some of that snow and we would make ice cream.
Snow cones! And you would take all the snow and you'd fill up the bowl and you'd add food coloring and sugar and vanilla. We used to call it snow cream or something like that. Ooh, I had forgotten about that. In some areas today. Sister?
Yeah, brother.
Who made all that food for everybody?
Everybody. Everybody but me. I didn't have to cook since I was a baby. Honey, I would burn a pan of water.
Sure enough.
I could not cook. When I was at home, they would allow me to set the table or chop salad. But cooking?
No.
But brother, at night, I would go out and I would scout the neighborhood. Because back then, apples were apples. Good, delicious apples. And everybody had a garden in their yard. So I'd go be the investigator and I'd say, time to go shopping. And they'd say, did your trees get plucked last night? And they'd be looking around and we never said it was us. Oh, brother, didn't we have peaches, apples, and plums in our yard?
Oh, peaches and apples. As a kid, you know, you never think to ask permission. You just go, I gotta go get me a peach. I guess it was just sweeter. Those were the times, though.
Ooh. Peach cobbler.
Ooh, that's one of the family favorites. At the time, women would can every fall fruits and vegetables, green beans, carrots, beets. Every house that had a basement had a shelf for canned products.
Green beans?
Yeah, they had green beans in a can. I mean, you could buy them, but it was cheaper to can stuff at the time. It was a part of life.
All right. So, a few years back, we went and took a tour at the house on Franklin Street because the house had gone through so many changes. It was an apartment, then it went back to being a family home. Do you remember that?
That house is probably worth $1 million now.
Oh. The two Woodmans here.
Oh, yes, the Woodman.
The Woodmans moved here from Mississippi, and they were the first black family to buy a house on Monaco Street. And they had crosses burned in the graves.
But the community was very strong and resisted it. And white people eventually got used to it, you know. Blacks moving to the boulevard.
Our parents had lived through those periods of life where they faced a lot of discrimination and what have you. And they were very protective of us having to face that. But brother, There's still that recreation center on 20th Street. You probably know where that is.
They had an indoor pool, and there was a guy that worked in the locker room that whenever minority kids came to swim, he would make you step in a pan that had lye.
Yeah. Brother, what was the name of that restaurant down there? The one that had the fried chicken.
The Capri?
The Capri. And the one where the 750 is.
Have you heard about that guy? The pig ear sandwiches?
He would boil the pig ears and he served it on a bun. And it had onions and hot sauce. And that was a pig ear sandwich. Ooh, he must have sold millions of them things.
I thought it was good.
He still eats them today. Nobody in their right mind rushes into their first pig ear sandwich.
All the restaurants down here had greens, turnip and collard greens, either with or without ham hocks. They had macaroni and cheese,
Baked beans, fried okra, cornbread,
catfish, usually a perch.
salmon,
Salmon sometimes, because you ordinarily wouldn't fry salmon.
croquettes.
Gravy and onions.
If you really want to know about 5 Points, back in the day,
It was community.
change is hard sometimes, especially when it's all you know.
Change is harder when it always happens to you.